something luxurious or something like that. So who? Out of the people they interviewed, who probably shouldn't we blame out of those people, or who got duped the most?
People who were signing the loans.
Yeah, but be specific, because some of these people were buying pools and other people were trying to get out of crime-ridden neighborhood.
The woman who, like, they came into her church and told her that she got it, like her, she got screwed.
I consider that to be really a form of psychological manipulation. They went into her church saying, "Hallelujah, God wants you to have this house." I'm going to tell you about what the terms are. I don't know, maybe for her, I don't think she believes that God would give her a bad loan. Right? And to manipulate people like that, use their religious beliefs, I think is nefarious. Now, she should have known better. Probably should have asked some more questions. But if you've ever seen, I know most of you have probably never seen this. First of all, the health care bill alone was 2,700 pages. Mortgage applications are like this. They're a couple hundred pages, okay? Most people on a daily basis don't read 10 pages. I hope you know, and this is a lesson in general about who reads what, who knows what. The President of the United States doesn't read a single bill that he votes on or approves. Okay? Do you guys know that? The Congress and both the Senate and the House, they don't read a single word of that health care bill before they vote on it. They didn't read a single word. Why? There's two reasons why. The first reason is disgusting. The second reason is just tells you the life of a congressman. What's the reasons why they don't read these bills before they vote on them? Wouldn't you want to be informed that the Patriot Act is going to do this to people's civil rights? Or that we're going to send money to Pakistan?
Recently I was researching the National Defense Authorization Act that came out in January. And I looked up the...
Was that the thing that redid this Patriot Act?
Yeah, it redid the Patriot Act, and it basically said that if the United States were in a time of war or
crisis,
crisis, that they could suspend due process and hold you without charge, without trial, indefinitely. Okay, so I went to go look up.
And they could also tap your phones without a warrant.
So I went to go look up this bill to actually see the bill, just to see if someone was actually, exaggerating it or something. I go on the department website and I go and I click on the bill, and right before the bill pops up, it says, this window pops up and it says, "Warning, this document is very large and will slow your computer if opened."
Right.
I opened up the thing, and my computer was running fine. I was experiencing no problems with that. It was just like a blatant
or something, like a red herring. They want to scare you out of doing that. I'm surprised the federal government didn't put viruses in their downloads or something like that. It's about their style. I hope you guys know that's what Microsoft does. They have this thing called genuine word authorization or something, that if it pretends like your computer doesn't have the real Windows, and it puts all the crap and locks your computer up unless you pay for Windows. Seriously, unless you know how to remove the warnings from inside the system files, you can't get rid of it. I'm telling you, and I would not be shocked if we find out later that Apple's behind all of these viruses, because how many viruses attack Apple machines? None. How many attack Microsoft? A lot. Who do you think's doing that? Who's got the profit motive to do that? Apple goes, "Hey, hackers, here's a grant. Don't do anything bad. Don't hurt nobody." Microsoft, you didn't hear me say that. Unofficially, I unofficially didn't say that. Or officially, I did unofficially say that. Anyway, whatever it is, don't repeat what I just said. So one of the ideas is that the bills are too big. And look, if you're a congressman, guess what you're doing? You're shaking hands with this slime ball, and then wiping the slime off your hand, and then shaking hands with this slime ball, and then getting your palm greased from this guy with money, and all this crap. You're kissing babies, and you're licking ass, and you're hanging out with people you can't stand, so you can get enough money so you can buy the election and get enough attention to where someone goes in a voting booth and go, "Who do we vote for Congress? Oh, that one guy last time." On top of that as well, okay, they don't want to take time out of their busy schedule raising money to have to sit down and read these things. So part of it is, it's just too much work. The problem is, you know who this gives power to? Congressional aides. They're the ones who read these things. They're interns.
That's the lobbyists.
Yeah, Monica Lewinsky. Yeah, there's the other one. The tobacco lobby goes in and goes, "You know what, have you read this health care bill? It taxes cigarettes at $3 a pack. I know, Senator, you have tobacco farmers in your district. I don't think they're going to be happy if you vote for this bill. That's what I'm telling you, they come down. And again, are most lobbyists interested in things the general American public would be interested in? No. They only care about one thing, getting their consulting fee and helping their client get the bill passed or whatever little nonsense crap that they want to put in. And congressional bills are like this. They'll have a bill to like send money to a charitable organization, and somebody will attach a thing that says, oh, and we want this dam built in New Mexico, or we want this museum built in Texas. It's called pork barrel legislation. So by the time a bill gets done, it started out at $20 billion, now it's $50 billion. And that's where your money goes, right down the drain. So someone can build a bridge to nowhere, and a building that no one goes in, and just for stupid stuff your government does. Okay? There's a documentary coming out, it's called The Museum of Government Waste. This organization, I think it was an NGO, they went to the federal government, they set up this proposal like it was a real proposal to get a grant from the government to create a museum that showed how government money was wasted. So they had the $10,000 toilet that the Defense Department spent. I hope you know the Defense Department listed that they spent $10,000 for a toilet and $800 for a hammer. You know they weren't. They were taking that money and sticking it in their pocket. They went and bought a toilet for $300 and they said, oh, there's $9,700 in my pocket. That is the way it works. I mean, do you think you're ever going to see a defense contractor or a defense consultant or a general living in some hovel, driving a broken down car? You know, now you know where it comes from. It's your money. Generals don't get paid that much by salary. Okay? Some of them are just straight thieves. But they don't call it thieves. Oh, it's a bonus, or it's a saving, or something like that. Part of the logic behind what the Defense Department does is, the way the government works, and here again is another incentive, and this is what drives it to national debt. If you don't spend all the money, like if I'm the Department of Commerce, and the government gives me $20 billion for my department to run all the things, and do the office administrative stuff, and pay salaries, if I don't spend that by the end of the year, and there's $1 billion left over, guess what happens to that $1 billion? No, not well. But the federal government says you're not going to get all. It's like a surplus. It's like, look, if it only takes $5 to run a lemonade stand, why would your parents give you 10? You see that? And they're not. And if they find out that it only cost you $5, are they going to give you $10 next year? Not yet. And that's the same thing. And so the federal government, at the end of their budget cycle, this is actually did an Office episode of this, where he went to get the chairs or the copier, and then he wanted. Then his boss told him that if he just kept the surplus, he'd get 20-some% of it, and so he bought a coat from Burlington Coat Factory, a fur coat, and he didn't have the money to pay for it. And then on top of that, someone splashed red paint on him as he was leaving the store because it was fur. Fur is murder, right? So anyway, people don't say hamburgers are murder, but they probably are. But anyway, okay. But again, so government agencies have an incentive to spend as much money as possible and overestimate what they spend money on. So that explains the $10,000 toilet. But I told you, this group went up to the government to see if they could get the government to give them money to make fun of the government. And eventually they got the grant. They had to lobby and go through a couple offices, but they eventually got the grant. And this speaks to the fact that one of the reasons why this occurred, at least from the face of it, is there is no voice for the public in Washington. There is no voice for middle and lower class people, or even for upper class people who are not in specific industries that the government favors. You know? Like if you are a company like Google, the government doesn't want to hear from Sergey Brin. They don't want to hear that. They don't want to hear from Zuckerberg either, unless he's paying his taxes. Those people are dangerous to them. They have a new business model. They consider them to be selling copyrighted material at a discounted rate, if not completely for free. They don't like these people. That's why the SOPA bill was partly passed. That was companies like Hulu, which are owned by NBC, saying to Facebook and Twitter, and especially YouTube, and Warner Brothers Music, saying, if you put our content up on YouTube, we're going to take your whole entire channel down. If you put copyrighted material on Facebook, we're going to delete your account. That's what that's. I hope you guys know that the Stop Online Piracy Act. That's what it's aimed at. It is aimed at the very minimum at destroying YouTube and destroying your ability to put up stuff that, like, if you film your friends at a concert, you know, or like outside of a concert and there's a billboard of a company, they will not allow you to display that if this bill passes. Okay? And also, anybody who downloads anything illegally or shares anything illegally will be liable for criminal prosecution.
They have that now, but it's up to the company.
It's harder now.
Yeah, it's up to the company to press charges. Like you
And they
can
normally
still,
don't.
Yeah, you can still
They're
put
gonna waste
copyrighted
their
stuff onto YouTube. It's just
That's what people
you gotta wait until somebody sues you.
Yeah, like I could put Seinfeld episodes on YouTube, and maybe they could say make it private. That's the one thing about YouTube. The reason why it would probably survive is, first of all, they're very powerful, they're owned by Google. But secondarily, I can make videos private. And so if I put Seinfeld episodes because I want to watch them, which is what most people who put stuff on YouTube, except for attention seekers, which there are plenty of those, Justin Bieber types, or this woman who couldn't figure out what miles per hour were, or something like that. Or remember David after the dentist? Remember that video?
Yeah.
The kid was all doped up and losing his mind, and the dad just kept laughing at him. And I would say to that father, first of all, you socially mortified your son. He'll never live that down, and I don't care if he got famous from it, and hopefully he made some money off of it. Probably did. You put commercials on stuff. On top of that, though, you're also sort of making fun of drug use. That it's funny that somebody was whacked out on whatever that kid was on. I guess he was on nitrous.
Like anesthesia.
Yeah, which is disturbing that that guy thinks that's funny. This is probably a guy who was huffing paint when he was in 8th grade or something like that. That he should have been made. His son was expressing that he was scared. That he was messed up in the head, and he was scared. And what did his father do? Did his father stop and pull over the car and go, "That's okay, son," or "It'll be all right"? No, he just look at my dumb son. He thinks he's losing his mind. Watch that kid be a drug addict and like murder 12 people. Because he got made fun of. And every time anywhere he goes, "You're the dork from Dave from the dentist, huh?" Anyway, let's go back to the piece here. Who maybe didn't deserve any sympathy in this equation? Either the mortgage brokers or the borrowers. Let's start with the borrowers. Who among the borrowers probably didn't deserve your sympathy?
The borrowers that refinance to get additions to their house.
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to do that, first of all, have a fair amount of the money for a down payment before you do such a thing, or maybe don't use. Because I'm a very patient person, we'll find out in the afterlife who's right, who's not. So I don't really care what people do in their life as long as they don't intrude on me. Okay? Just like you can swing your fist, but if it hits me in the nose, then you're in trouble. Okay? That's where it starts, or that's where it stops. But I don't fault people. You want to buy a pool or a grotto and make your kids into spoiled rotten brats, that's your problem. Hopefully they won't come into my class. But if they do, they'll get a lesson in reality to some extent. Okay? The reality's not like that. On top of it, you know what you're creating for these kids that when they get everything they ask for? You're creating a situation where, let me put it this way, in the real world, in the adult world, did you get everything you asked for? Did you get everything you want? So are these kids going to be greatly disappointed when they get older, probably? Might have some serious problems. Might turn out to be narcissistic eventually. But do you think these kids are going to grow up with materialistic attitudes? Although it'd be interesting to see if they got kicked out, what the parents told the kids about what happened. They probably blamed it on something. It was the devil. The devil took our house. Okay. What else? What about who else? So some people were getting pools, and if you saw those pools, that wasn't normal. Those weren't normal pools.
That was a nice pool.
Yeah.
That last one.
What do you think that cost? 50, 60,000? 50,000? Anybody in the pool business? That was an in-ground. That was a laden pool with marble and everything all around it, and small tile and a hot tub.
I used to work for a pool company, and those pools were like $400 grand.
Really?
Yeah.
Around here, so it might be a little cheaper in California. Who knows? You figure in California there'd be more people who build pools. Did anybody question the fact that people in Long Island in a climate that sometimes rains and snows 300 days a year would spend $400,000 on a pool? Did you get the impression a lot of these people really didn't have the money to pay for this?
Oh, absolutely. It was just like funny when you go to a regular sized
Small
house and they're
middle
putting like
class
a $300,000 pool.
And it's probably more than their house.
Yeah.
Or close, half the value of the house. What about among the bankers and the rating agencies and stuff? Did any of those people deserve your sympathy? Why not? They made mistakes. Come on. We all make mistakes. You know, Katy Perry married Russell Brand. You're going to make her suffer for the rest of her life because she made a mistake. She corrected it.
The difference is people make mistakes, but they knew what they were doing, and they let it go on for years until it was to the point where it's like, oh well, we can't go any.
So you're saying that you don't believe Alan Greenspan and a lot of these other guys who said that they weren't completely sure that this was going to blow up in their face?
No, they knew it was going to blow up. They said it was going to blow up in their face, but they kept doing it because they were making money.
Should have Alan Greenspan done something?
Yeah, he's the head of the Fed. He should have.
What did that one guy, remember the one guy own it, the Bill Dallas guy? What did he say would have stopped this madness instantly? But why he didn't do it as well? It was a former regulation. Remember they said that it took 90 days to do a home loan and went to 5? What did they not do anymore?
They needed to regulate unemployment. They said if they had increased, if the government had...
Well, that's what he said would happen if they busted the bubble. But I'm saying, so...
Oh, talking about when...
Like, what could the regulators have done with the mortgage market to stop this stuff in 2003 and 2004 before it got to this level? So,
They weren't doing credit checks.
yeah, or just full document. Full documented loan means. Remember that one guy? I can't remember his name. Luke Pacific. I love that name. And he's wearing a Hawaiian shirt. Remember, he got back from Vietnam. And he started in the mortgage industry, and when he started, it took 60 to 90 days. And he said, "Look," and he wasn't exaggerating. They would go to your work. They would, and they would go to your work and talk to your boss. They'd be like, "So, is this guy a good employee? Is he going to get fired soon?" Stuff like that. Has he got a future with this company? Because a 30-year loan. Think about the ramifications of what can happen in somebody's life in 30 years. Think of what's happened in your own life in 2 years. 6 months, Or your favorite sports team in the past couple weeks, Jess. Anyway. Okay? Things happen quick. So if you're a bank and you're getting rid of a 30-year loan, shouldn't you want to know if somebody's coming in late to work or not working hard, or if they're just going to be a salesperson for the rest of their life and only make a certain salary? They would go to your bank, they would check your credit score, they would check all 3 of your credit scores. If you had any outstanding loans, and on top of that, that still wasn't enough. What did you have to put down? A huge one, too. Sometimes 20% of the house in cash. That went away.
That's all safer stuff, right?
Right, and now they're doing it again. You can't get a home loan. I've heard some places, like in Nevada and California and Florida, where people got burned. Yeah, 30, 40, 50, I'm talking serious
For
money.
gated communities, it's like 60% now.
Well, because they don't want any screw-ups in there. They don't want the home. I don't blame them for that. They don't want their home value to go down because some moron got lucky in the lottery or just lied on the form. And again, so for what Bill Dallas said and Luke Pacific said, it was Alan Greenspan telling the truth when he said that he couldn't have done anything unless it would have destroyed the economy. What could the Fed have done?
Regulate.
Exactly. They could have came in and said, "Look."
This is bogus.
And they could have came into Wall Street and said, "Look, you're not buying any of these loans anymore." How about the rating agencies? What the hell were they doing in this process?
Making bad loans like triple B minus or triple B into triple A's.
And if those of you who are
bogus mortgages, basically.
right in mortgages, whereas before we had never had a period of time where people didn't pay their mortgages, except for maybe a small period of time during the Great Depression. And this housing crisis makes the Great Depression, the housing crisis that took place in the Great Depression, look like small peanuts. Seriously, and even though there were a lot more mistakes were made at the initial stages by Herbert Hoover, and the reason why unemployment during the Great Depression in the United States was near 25% of the working workforce and 50% of the entire country, because women didn't have jobs that often. So if the husband lost their job, you have a no-income family, essentially. Okay? Whereas nowadays, most people have 2-income families, and if one person loses their job, they can get back into it. But anyway, so what you have with the AAA security, like this university has an endowment, and or like Harvard. Harvard's endowment is $40 billion. They're like Microsoft or something. I would say Apple, but Apple's got $100 billion in cash. That's where all your iPad money went. It went into Apple's bank account, and they're going to give it out as dividends and buy back their stock, which a stock that's already at $600, which, believe it or not, at one point in the 1980s, Apple stock was $3.50. It was this close to going bankrupt, even until 1998. Okay, and that's why I always tell people don't get too excited about Apple. Okay, Microsoft was on top once. They went down. Okay, I mean, look at all these companies. Look at PlayStation. That used to be SH fill in the blank. Okay, now it's not. now it is really shit, isn't it? Somebody throw in the trash. That's what it is.
I like my
Right? No, I like mine too. I bought it for $70. But you can't get $100 billion in cash for $70. But anyway, if you're an organization like a university or a pension fund, why is it important that pension funds and universities and retirement funds invest in safe securities that give fixed income back, like bonds? Why is that important for pension plans?
Because the whole concept of these, like the mutual funds and the hedge funds, is that they still have some level of privacy. They still want to be like, okay, well, this is basically a group of people that basically control their own money. Why would we want the government involved?
So why would they want to buy AAA rated securities?
Because it boosts their hedge fund.
Well, but not all pension plans and stuff are hedge funds. So if we just
Well,
take,
that boosts, well, it could, you know.
like, look, New York State's retirement fund. Why is it important that New York State puts their money in reliable securities instead of this Russian roulette garbage or on the crack table?
So when people retire, they have money to retire on, don't
And they don't lose it. Like if you invest in, let me put it this way: if you invest in a New York State bond, is New York State going to go out of business anytime soon? Although it had a deficit problem, right? Okay, let me use another state. It's hard to find one that doesn't have a deficit.
Texas.
Okay, or Tennessee, one of these states. Let's take Texas, because it's a big state. Texas doesn't have a debt. Do you think that Texas, when they borrow money with a bond, is not going to pay it back? No, they're probably going to pay it back, right? So if I invest $100 and Texas says, I'll give you $105 back when you get it back, that's a pretty good investment. And you know that it's not going to go down the crap hole. If you put your money into Apple, what can happen to Apple, although it's probably not going to happen?
They go bankrupt.
It can go to absolutely to zero. And you won't get a dime unless you sell it. Okay? Go ask the people at Enron. So people will tell you if you have a 401k, which is an individual retirement account, what kind of securities and stocks do you not want to put that money in, since you're going to have to rely on it for later on? Risky. Somebody said it. Risky stocks, because they can go to zero. Did the people who were investing in these AAA securities understand what Moody's was doing by altering the ratings to B and triple B minus?
Not at all.
And so they were being told, this is grade A beef, and they were getting sold crap that somebody shoveled off of the factory floor. Wouldn't you be angry? You're being told that this insulation doesn't have asbestos in it, and it does? I mean, look, we have a word for that. What is it? It's fraud. And it's a criminal offense. I don't see what these people were doing is any different than what Bernie Madoff was doing. Except for at least Bernie Madoff was sort of almost being more honest about being a crook. He was just stealing their money. He was just, I'm just going to take it. Did anybody watch the Bernie Madoff videos yet? You get an idea what kind of... And Alan Stanford did the same thing. The only good thing about these recessions is it does clean a lot of this garbage out of the mess. But the problem is, what happened? What was the government's response? I think this is an important thing. What was the government's response to the housing crisis and the banking crisis? Did they just say, hey, banks, deal with it, and see you later? So, are these people who committed these, essentially what are crimes, it's a very minimal unethical behavior, have they been fired? Have they been put in jail? Have they been fined severely and restricted? It doesn't look like it. So what is the chances that this is going to happen again?
Very high, especially when the government is enabling them with a bailout.
Yeah, not only that,
It's enabling them to do it again. It's like saying, oh, you screwed up, but we'll...
yeah, give it a new life. Let's breathe life into the serial killer. Let's find Hitler and bring you back to life like Frankenstein. I mean, that's the kind of garbage that they're saying, look, you made the worst. You remember Alan Greenspan said, you made the worst decisions possible. This is a failure of the best and brightest. Normally when it happens, those people are homeless. You know who really lost their jobs? The janitors at these firms. And the mid-level employees. And the people who had nothing, almost nothing to do with it. Did Bill Dallas look like he was living in a cardboard box? Did any of those former mortgage brokers look like they were living in a cardboard box? So do you think that they got the message that this was wrong? Or did you get the message that, hey, you can make as many mistakes as you can while you're making money, and the federal government will come and bail it out? It's what we call moral hazard. It's like, instead of rewarding if you had 2 kids and one of them smacked the other one, instead of punishing him, you rewarded him and gave him $5. Do you think he's going to stop smacking the other kid?
You're gonna hit him harder.
Yeah, exactly. And that's all these beggars learned. Like, hey, we all personally made millions of dollars. Our firm's still around, even though they lost massive amounts of money, because the government came in. And I'll tell you right now, the majority of money from the federal budget comes from middle-class Americans paying their income taxes. So, the one good thing is I invested in AIG stock, and I made about a couple $1,000s off of it, so I got part of my money back from AIG. Right now, I'm engaged in speculating on Fannie and Freddie, which they were at 19 cents, and now they're at 31, so my money's it's been up about 45%. Huh? With Fannie and Freddie, the thing is they control $70 trillion in the mortgage market, and every couple of weeks, Obama comes out and says, we're going to do something about this, and they never do anything about it. I think Fannie and Freddie must be the behemoths of power in Washington because they're afraid to pull the swords out on them. I think it's what the banks did. Fannie and Freddie are so entangled into the system that you couldn't get rid of them if you tried. And I think the banks did this on purpose. They thought, hey, we'll interconnect. Like, Bank of America was buying securities from AIG, and AIG was insuring things from Bank of America. So it was almost they were creating this environment where if one of them fell, they would all fall and drag the whole entire system down. And they knew inherently that the federal government would not allow that to take place. And they thought also with their personal contacts with senators and representatives and the president, that even if something did happen, that they could go there and present their case. Whereas you as the individual taxpayers in the United States, I hate to put it this way, and voters too, the United States government doesn't give one damn about your finances. Clearly. Okay? Alright, any more comments on House of Cards? You can see the materialism, I think, here, at both sides. The mortgage brokers. And I'll tell you what, how is the government profiting from this situation and therefore materialistically and therefore was less inclined to knock the stuffing out of this bubble?
When they did the bailout, they took control of some.
Well, that's part of it, but beforehand, how were they profiting before the housing crisis took place, when the boom was going on?
They make money on individual mortgage transactions.
Right, it was driving employment up. The people pay income tax. People pay taxes on the loan. People pay taxes on, their mortgage. It helped businesses stay afloat. They were paying into the federal treasury. So why would the United States government, that's experiencing a boom in tax money, and now can blow all this money on stuff like whether or not fish can get drunk, or $10,000 toilets, or missiles that we'll never use? How many? We have 7,500, at least 7,500 nuclear weapons in this country. Experts said it'd only take 100 to destroy the entire world. What's the point? It's almost like a pissing contest, or worse.
That's what it was.
It is. Who's got the biggest balls, or whatever it is? Oh, you got 5,000 nuclear weapons. We got 7,500. It's like the stupidity of it. We could literally blow up the moon to little bits, to little pieces. Okay, and they would be the tides. So the surfers would be screwed. Anyway, all right. Any more comments on the House of Cards? All right, let's show some different aspects. We'll go over the test on Wednesday. I think it's pretty self-explanatory. But question 3, we'll go over more detail on Wednesday.
When does it due again?
I believe I put it at the 4th. So that's a little bit of time. We'll actually be into our next section. Make sure also to get that there's a river book and start reading it. If everybody shows their reading, I will not give a final. We'll just take quizzes on both the reading and the notes from the previous session. Okay? But if I catch you guys not reading, you're all going to do the final. And I'd rather not do that. I'm trying to lead. Let's watch the basketball edition. This was with Carmelo and his wife, Lala, or whatever her name is. It's like a chorus from a music. It's not. Does anybody know? Is that her real name? Or is that a shortened version of her real name? You guys don't even know who I'm talking about. You'll see her here in a minute. This is Carmelo's wife. She thinks she's a star, but obviously she's not. Not a single one of you know who she is.
She has a TV show, yeah.
What was she doing before that?
Lala's full court
She
life.
was on that MTV.
Yeah, she worked for TRL on MTV.
She was a hostess.
Yeah, that's a real. She's a jockey, what they call it.
I thought she wanted to be a singer or something.
No.
Well, then if you're a VJ, that doesn't mean nothing. It's like, again,
That's what she was.
it's like
Yeah.
Ryan
Smash
Seacrest,
Mellow.
worthless.
That's tons of money. Some people get real lucky, huh? We live in a trailer.
People who don't deserve it. That's the worst part about it. That's the worst part
When do
about
you
it.
take 5-hour energy?
More trash. It's fitting that they would show a commercial next to Cribs. So this again is more of the expression of materialism, and maybe one of the reasons why it drove the housing market.
Every day. Every day is a 5-hour.
Because the way people view their home as an expression of themselves and as an expression of their success. So here's Cribs with NBA stars.
On this episode of MTV Cribs, Pro Basketball Edition.
I'm Carmelo Anthony from the Denver Nuggets.
You're not on the Denver Nuggets no more.
Danny Granger.
I'm Carmelo Anthony. I'm the one that messed up Jeremy Lin's game.
AKA.
No thank yous necessary.
The Crown Jewel car collection. During the season, I really can't drive it too much. But in the off season, I'll take it to
But I just like to rub it with the rag.
Very sexy.
Make my friends jealous. These people put those other people from House of Cards to shame. This is what we call conspicuous consumption. They look like some out of Disneyland. I've seen amusement parks with fountains that weren't that big. 6-bedroom, 9 baths. I love that.
I'm Lala,
I'm Carmelo Anthony from the Denver Nuggets.
and this is our son Cayenne, and we're about to show you our crib.
Come on
Come
in.
in. Welcome. This is our first room when you first enter
They
into
named
the
their
house.
kid after a
This
pepper?
is the great room,
In a Porsche.
and we like
That's a
it.
color,
We sit
too.
here, hang out sometimes, and just chill.
Tall chandeliers.
Chill, my gigantic house.
Big tall chandeliers.
Making fun of the little people. And we deserve all of it.
Down the area.
You gotta remember, Carmelo Anthony's what, 28 years old?
Family dinners.
He's like 20.
Godfather style.
Yeah.
I know y'all
Most
seen
people don't
the
get this by the time they're 55.
I bet you never ate a meal at that time.
This is my seat.
Maybe.
Don Corleone seat.
Happy hour.
Right here.
So this is the living room.
That's where you hang out.
This is where I hang out mostly with my friends. You hang out here too,
Fireplace
play
is bigger than
basketball
most people's
games.
closet.
And here we have a family portrait.
What's up with
I
the
am
non-flat
4 years old.
paneled screen
And this is
TV?
a
You
very,
think
very important picture to us right
multi-millionaire
here.
would have one of them LCD things and all this crap.
Our family with my mom and President Obama. This was actually right before he got elected.
And he was like, who are you again?
Big up to Obama.
Yes.
Now
See,
we'll
that's
check
who
out the
Obama
kitchen.
meets with, not with you or
What really
me.
goes down there.
Where I do all the cooking. Right, babe?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Sure.
the local restaurant does all the cooking.
The marble table, marble countertop.
We'll just let this go. Next time we'll start with the My
Stay
16,
healthy,
My
guys.
Sweet 16, because
Eat
you've got to see
bananas,
what PJ did
oranges.
for his
Lemon's
son.
good for your soul, for your inside. Here's the
Despicable.
refrigerator.
He's wearing a crown and they were carried. It was like, oh,
Powerade,
Like
water,
Buster did with the
eggs,
girls on that
butter,
huh?
Yeah.
ketchup.
Days when the girls on that.
I always gotta have ketchup and hot sauce.
Tweak that fact.
Always.
Did you see his refrigerator had nothing but Powerade
Now
and
we'll take y'all
condiments
back
in
here
it?
to the office.
Yeah, I told you. These people don't cook.
Mellow Enterprises, La La Inc.
Where all the
Also
big
entertainment.
business deals get done, right in here.
Yes, sir.
You make money and the more
Mel
money.
won the Olympic gold medal. They sent him a bronze statue of himself.
That doesn't look like Carmelo at all.
Down
This
with
doesn't
that
look like
white
him. It
man.
actually looks more like Blake Griffin.
She kisses somebody else.
Bronze polish.
Now we're gonna take you to the gym. So come on.
Big muscles.
This is
The Mellow Fitness Center.
Do you see why he's
Power.
disruptive to a player like Jeremy? Or disruptive to a team?
It's not too much fancy stuff in here. But we have the basics, the treadmill, the balls to do ab work.
I get all my practice right here. So anybody want to play crazy out there, look right here to it.
So now he's threatening people.
I'm not a boxer, but I do hit hard.
Now we're gonna
Yeah,
take
you
you
could be like Plaxico
downstairs.
Burst, be a hard ass, and carry a gun to the bar and shoot yourself in the leg too. You could be like Gilbert Arenas, pick a gun,
I'll
man.
let Mello do most of the talking here because this is his
The
all
NBA has an image problem with the average American. This crap especially. Part of it is unfair because football players live like this, live way worse than this.
And this is where I like to sit, relax, watch games, watch movies, watch shows.
Well, they also have the longest careers. They play the most games, though. And they barely get hurt, so
This is
it's usually repetitive.
If you're under 18, you can't get back here.
So now he just admitted that he played illegal poker.
Poker, bull rig, guts, spades, every card game you can imagine throws down right here.
And here, of course, you have the pool table where everybody gets competitive.
A lot of money was lost on this pool table right here. A lot of people came
It's
through
admitted
here.
to felony gambling.
A lot of sad
Just like
faces.
Michael Jordan. He should be hanging around
Take you to
bars.
the theater now where we watch movies, get popcorn, hang out.
They make caviar flavored popcorn.
We actually
And the thing is Mello from a wealthy family?
Right here, Tyson.
No.
Go check it out.
Now he's probably doing pretty good at Syracuse, but this guy was eating cheese off of the,
This is my seat. This is my own personal seat.
stuff and ramen noodles. Okay.
A wise man once told me always sit
He's got a movie
in
theater.
the middle of the screen.
What wise man was that?
Get a better picture, better view. Got it?
Write that down. That's
All right, wine
Oops,
cellar.
sorry.
Here we come.
sorry about that.
As you can see, we have a lot of variety of different wines. Mello is the wine collector of the
Yeah, big
family.
bottles, big
I've seen
bottles.
stores that don't have this
We always
wine.
have wine tasting over here.
They keep
I'm a
inventory.
big red wine drinker.
And I was just informed by Mello, I didn't know this, that one of these barrels has some old vintage wine from when?
1929.
1929, so this is news to me.
That's not really that big of a deal. In France, they got wine that
Very
goes back to the
expensive.
1600s.
A lot of bucks. Big
Yeah.
bucks.
Chateaubriand. Probably got some Cristal in there.
Probably like 100,000.
You know the company that made Cristal? They told these hip hop artists to stop mentioning their drink and their songs because they didn't want to be associated with people like Jay-Z.
Nike Town.
Fancy Mello.
It's Nike Town, aka House of Hoops.
Yeah, God, you think
When I come
some
down,
people stereotype women and say they're obsessed with shoes?
My outfits. Sometimes
This guy puts them all to shame.
I don't really know what to wear, but as you see, I figure it
That's
out.
still crazy, though. Oh, you mean it gave them to him?
Yeah, he's like sponsored.
Still, man, you could have gave him away to charity. I guess they're size 28,
On
though.
this pro basketball edition of MTV Cribs.
So here's another one. You see, he's also a basketball player. And to be fair, it's not only basketball players who live like this. They go to celebrities' house. You saw the Daniel Sadik thing. They used to have a show that was the forerunner of this. I don't know if it's still on. It's called Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous with Robin Leach. Which, could you pick a better last name for this guy, Robin Leach, leeching off the rich? And he had this really obnoxious accent. And it was a really strange show. And even when it was on, people in general did not find it a positive show. They thought it was the wrong way to view things. So, alright, so for the last 2 minutes here, commercial will stop. We'll show what the other NBA player does. And what happens is here that there becomes a convention about this is what you do when you get rich. And see how similar this other NBA player's lifestyle is to Carmelo's. Good God with this stuff.
Your skin with a fresh feel of St. Ives lotion. 100% natural.
Yeah, they didn't put that girl on there because she represented the average American person. Okay. Like, who looks good in underwear? You. All right, get in here. There's $50,000 feet right now. Jesus, these commercials. Another show that's That's an ABC commercial.
The next chapter begins.
Shut up. That's not a real name.
How's that going, Ken? She's like, in this show, like,
On with this.
blowjobs and stuff.
Secret life, dumbasses. You never romanticize.
Alright, so we're gonna take you guys
They're saying,
upstairs.
Go get this.
To the bedroom.
Oh, I guess I didn't. I guess
We're
I
fast
didn't
forward,
need
but
to.
y'all. Let's just run upstairs.
Elevator.
Okay.
And they're the only two who live in this house. I don't even think they have a pet.
I can relax now. You can do all the talking,
It's like
babe.
a double king size bed.
This is our room.
I guess when you're 7 foot whatever. Like Shaq can't live on a regular bed. He probably can't. He probably needs a special toilet. Okay.
This is the bed.
He sits on some probably breaks.
She picked up whatever you call the stuff that goes around the bed, the decorations.
He probably needs big doors.
Well, Liza's gonna take her out to the bathroom where she spent hours and hours.
That's not true. I get ready so fast.
Now he's making fun of her that she's obsessed with her books. Alright everybody, we'll continue this on Wednesday. Make sure to read. If you got any questions on the test, you can email me tonight or tomorrow before we meet. But look over the test to make sure you know what I'm asking for. The test is pretty straightforward though.
Small blackboard?
Yes. Make sure to get that. Make sure you have that other book. There's the river. I bet you can download it from Amazon, but the bookstore's not going to have it anymore. 'Cause they only care about money too. They should be running a mortgage business. That's why they charge you $95 for a book, and then give you $5 when you sell it back to them. And then they go sell it again for $75. That's why I encourage people to go on Chegg or rent textbooks. I mean, or this is what you do. If it's a book, like a history class, and it's a book that was written in 1952, go to the library. They probably got 5 copies of it. I figured that out my first semester in college, and from then on out, every time I would get the syllabus, the minute the class was over, I would run to the library to make sure nobody else would get the book, and I would go get the book, and then I wouldn't have to pay for books. There were like 3 or 4 books.
Really, in the library.
It's because nobody buys books anymore at the library. There's the thing, though. If it's a book, though, from 1950 something, or even into the 70s, 80s, they usually have it. Like that Armageddon and Waco book. I can almost guarantee you, in my social institutions class, that was at the library. I bet you There's a River is at the library.